I don't even know who that is, but I bet she's got billions.
I don't know if anyone has billions.
No, I was exaggerating, obviously, Steve.
It's wild looking at some of these accounts that have like millions of subs and realizing that basically their weekly video release gets our entire subscriber base worth of views.
Yeah.
In like a week.
Yeah. We're small potatoes over here. Hi, I'm Ryan.
And I'm Steven. This is 60 Cycle Hum, the
guitar buying, selling, trading, fixing, modding, breaking, reviewing, playing podcast. You want to try again?
The guitar buying, selling, trading, fixing, modding, breaking, reviewing, playing podcast.
We did it.
This first
pat on the back
is sent by let me find it, by Matt Carnevale.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Metallico. 1983.
It's
Gibson
the masculine
Explorer.
form of Metallica.
Cool green, white, red finish, Caller trim, and dirty fingers pickups. A unique 1983 Gibson Explorer that has a beautiful professional refin in metallic green, white, and metallic red. In the early 1980s, Gibson produced an American flag and British Union Jack Explorer guitar. This high quality and expensive finish work makes us think the owner might have been going for an Italian flag Explorer. Google tells us that 13 countries actually have this color combination, so take your pick. The guitar features 2 original dirty finger pickups, factory Gibson branded Caller trim, gold hardware, single ply, pick guard, and serial number, and made in USA stamp visible. Original pots, no cracks, no crack repairs, very good condition, displaying some nicks, dings, and scratches. This well-executed finish is stunning to look at, and you will not find another like it. Included is the original worn hard shell case with replaced latches. Latches?
What country do you think it represents, Steve?
No, I was thinking Italy.
I'm thinking Mexico.
You're thinking Mexico.
All it needs is you get that.
It needs that eagle.
You get the eagle hanging out on the cactus. Throw it on there as a sticker. You're all set. Take this down to Tijuana.
I want this to be like orange, and then it can be an Irish guitar.
And then you. I'm not going to make jokes. I was going to make a car bomb joke, and it stopped feeling like a joke.
I'm glad you
it didn't. It didn't feel like a joke. It felt not appropriate. So I didn't.
Yeah.
Do it. Sorry.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. Should we start the show over?
No, I don't want to. We're already 5 minutes in.
I know it's too late. Oh my gosh. I think this looks fun.
No, it looks really good.
And I think
it makes me think of
completing the Mexican flag theme would look amazing on this.
Makes me think of Neapolitan ice cream, which is delicious.
And Italian.
And also Italian.
Is it actually? I'm thinking of spumoni. Is that what it's called?
Maybe spumoni is what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, that's the
But Neapolitan is also
spumoni is 3 stripes too, right?
Yeah. And actually,
I haven't had spumoni forever.
And spumoni, I think, is also Italian.
Well, yeah.
It sure sounds Italian.
Spumoni.
Spumoni.
See, that proves it. It's Italian.
Spumoni is green.
Pink and chocolate.
Green, pink, and chocolate.
I think it's pistachio, strawberry, and chocolate.
Oh, interesting. Cherries is typically it's cherry, pistachio, and either chocolate or vanilla. But also spumoni, it looks like it could just be ice cream with candied fruits and nuts in it.
So go hog wild, whatever you want to do.
Neapolitan ice cream, of course, is typically vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry, though I feel like I've seen it with pistachio as well. And historically, that one is Italian flag, pistachio, vanilla, and cherry.
So yeah,
you could 1839.
This could just be an ice cream themed guitar.
Yeah.
But $32.99, $3,300.
I think this actually might be worth it.
It's not extreme. It's not super far outside of the realm of possibility. Like, you really got to want this paint theme. Like, you really got to want it.
Sure. But the paint looks really good, which is a which is a plus.
But it's also maybe a negative because, as I've said before, you see an old guitar that's really beat up. It's because someone played it because it's good.
Yeah.
Maybe this isn't good. It does have some wear on it. There are some dents and dings here and there, but that might just because it's an Explorer. They get banged up if you walk around the house with them because they're so big.
1980s Gibson Explorers are a little bit all over the map on reverb.
Of course.
I'm seeing them as low as 2,800.
Well, I'm sure very specific models go for crazy.
Even
money.
like I found one as low as 1,900. But there's also someone here, like there's a Carino one. Somebody wants like 50,000.
Well, yeah. Do you see any with Kahlers? Because like a solid painted one with a Kahler, that would be the comparison. Collar, however it's pronounced.
There's that one, 32. I'm trying to see if there's any with a collar that are a solid finish under 32. There's something for 1,900, but it's got a Fernandez sustainer in it.
That's fine. Sustainers are fun. I don't know
There's
why
another
like
one
that
with
was
some
gross.
kind of trim in it that's like $5,000, but it's got it's a Gibson Designer Series, so it's also like a unique finish.
It kind of feels like this is a normal price.
Yeah, I think this is fair. I think this is a fair price, all things considered.
Right. I mean, if you really wanted to go crazy, you could get it refinished.
Again,
It'd probably cost you, $500 depending on who you found to do it. I don't know. I think it's fun. I think it's festive. Like you could bust this out at Christmas and it would make sense. You got the gold for the tinsel on the bridge and the locking nut. It doesn't have to be Italian or Mexican or apparently 11 other countries.
yeah. So I don't know if this is better or worse, but like there's a white one for $9,600, but it's a triangle knob. I don't know if that makes it special. That makes it different.
Countries with green, white, and red flags. Lebanon, they've got a tree on their flag. Madagascar.
Lebanon doesn't have black. That's like red, white,
They're
or green.
Steve, they're leaving out the black. The blacks are just pinstripes.
Or sorry, there's those, but like the green is only the tree.
Yeah, it's
I
not
feel
the
like that
same.
doesn't really.
Belarus does. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking like Kenya, maybe. Does Kenya have those colors?
Let's see if this article does a better job. Oh, it's not showing any pictures in that article. What a waste of time.
How disappointing.
Will this one have the Hungarian flag?
Oh, it could be a
But it's
tribute
upside
to
down.
Hungary. Yeah.
It's upside down. Is Hungarian the same as Hungary?
Hungary.
And then there wasn't another picture in the rest of the article. Because of course
If
not.
your country has a red, white, and green flag, leave us a comment down below.
Bulgaria, but it's like
Bulgaria.
green is in the middle.
Yeah, they're not. None of these are in like the same order. Burundi, but that's a totally different shape.
It's really Hungary, Italy, and Mexico, as far as I can tell. Iran.
This is maybe
This could be
is
Iranian. Yeah.
This is a Persian guitar.
And Italy's vertical, so you hang this on the wall and it's Italian. That's the thing. You hang it on the wall and it's Italian, but the moment you start playing it, it becomes Mexican.
Is the green on top on the Mexican flag?
I think so. Oh,
Nope.
Mexican's vertical too.
Yeah.
Ah. Dang it. And Hungarian was the one that was horizontal, right?
Is the Mexican national anthem the one that's like? Brrr,
You don't know the Mexican national anthem by heart?
No, I'm thinking of the Olympic theme song.
Yeah, you totally are. Okay, there's no more pictures in this article. I give up. I don't know. Someone out there is going to want this thing super bad, and I think they should get it. I think it's the guitar for them. I think it's perfect for them, and I think they should save up the pennies and they should splurge.
I kind of really like it.
It's fun, right? There was an Explorer at Guitar Trader 20 years ago.
You know who needs this guitar?
Who?
I don't think he's Italian, but in my brain he's Italian. His Buddy Blues. Buddy Blues. You know Buddy Blues. He's a YouTuber.
You think he's Italian?
He's not Italian, but in my head, my brain wants him to be Italian, but he's not. Davey 504, if he takes up guitar.
Davey 504, here you go. Slap at a guitar. Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Was this a good ad? I'm starting to wonder if it was a good ad.
You
or
were
not.
telling me like before we recorded that you were getting really picky with like what ads make at the show.
This is what I have to work with here.
And then you served me this dog shit.
Oh, come on. Come on. A viewer sent this in. Matt Carnivale, Steve.
Matt Carnivale's shotgun approaches ads. This probably was
He
he
really
probably
does.
sent this along with 10 other ones, and this probably wasn't actually the best one.
Oh,
Matt,
you know what?
Matt, I know you do quality work. I think Ryan's trying to do you dirty.
Does everyone else think that maybe Steve should take a turn picking ads next week?
I used to pick the ads before I was like, why did I stop picking ads?
When were you picking ads?
Like early on in the show, I had a lot more input on ads.
Hmm.
And at some point,
Our workflow changed.
Our workflow changed.
Yeah.
And so I think what it was is my personal workflow changed where I couldn't go through the email
what it
when
was?
I was working.
I would pick like 15 ads and we would go through them before the show.
Was that what it was?
Now I literally pick
6 ads.
I pick 6 ads, 3 per episode, and re-record 2 episodes in a session. So,
I think we together we would probably, because I know I was definitely dumping things from emails into
you might have been.
Drive.
You might have been.
So maybe together we were just doing a much bigger dump. But
Yeah.
once I started working
Together, we do a
We
much
were taking-
bigger dump.
we were taking a huge dump
Yeah.
together. We were making huge dumps. At some point, my workflow changed, so I didn't feel as. Oh, I think it was when we went to open office at work. It felt really weird to try to spend half an hour at work going through non-work emails
Totally.
on my work computer, and so I think I just kind of had to dial it back.
Sure. All right, what's the next ad? Let's
The
keep
next
moving.
ad is our ad.
Let's do a
for our
short episode.
Patreon. If you want to support the show, head on over to patreon.com/60cyclehumcast. Last week I said 60 cycle hum. I'm pretty sure that's wrong.
The
but
link
that's okay.
is
There's
in the
link is below.
description.
Every dollar that you send in
Gets used.
Hold on, every dollar that you send in, 70 cents of that gets used for the production of this program. And
Is it really 30 cents on the dollar?
yeah, I think it's like 30%. It's actually like one of the, because we're like old Patreon, like founding supporter or whatever. Like we've been on Patreon for so long that we get a better rate than like other people.
I'll take it.
Like, I think it's 30%. I think the newer ones are worse, but
Well, yeah, if they're taking a bigger percent,
Yeah.
then that's worse. So yeah.
Anyway, we got NAMM coming up soon. It's gonna
Yeah.
help pay for that. Obviously, we got food. We got a mailbox that we pay for. We got a lot of different things that we pay for.
We got big old burritos for dinner tonight. I'm gonna
Yeah.
have it for breakfast
Like-
tomorrow. Is so big.
Do you pay what other? Well, we got the Google subscription. We pay for Google Google Drive space. We're just talking about that. That's the way actually we send the audio back and forth, so I can do the audio uploads.
We send out digital gift cards.
Yeah.
Every single episode.
Actually, it all comes from the Patreon.
That's $100 a month that we're spending. We do pay ourselves a little bit for
the time
that it
work.
takes to run the behind the scenes for the podcast. It's like we're making just above minimum wage, really,
Yeah.
but it's enough that our wives can't say, "Hey, this is completely pointless."
Yeah.
That's really what it is. But yeah, we take a cut for ourselves. The vast majority of it supports the show and all the costs. I'm having trouble with one of my cameras right now, so there might be a new
Might have
camera
to
in the
replace that.
future. It feels good to have a budget.
I just bought a Jack White panel verb, so I'll be pulling that. No, I'm just kidding. I don't think they're shipping yet. I'm just kidding. No, I didn't.
Someone on the internet already has one. I saw them talking about it.
If I bought a Jack White panel verb, I don't want to be reimbursed from the Patreon. I will write that off on my taxes.
Yeah. Because if we take it out of the budget, then I'm writing it off on my taxes.
But anyway, there's the Patreon supports a lot of the shenanigans
Yes,
we get into and travel and all sorts of things. So,
Every now and then I do a demo that's Patreon funded. I buy gear with Patreon funds.
Yeah.
And I scroll your names at the end of that video. We scroll your names at the end of every single podcast episode. It's a huge deal. You guys have been supporting us for so long, whether you just started supporting this week or you've been supporting for years or you supported years ago and then you stopped. We love everyone who's ever supported us, and we love everyone who hasn't supported us, but we especially love those who have given us money. Like, we have an extra place in our heart just for people who've given us money, for sure. Yeah.
It sounds so gross when you just say the word money over and over.
Money. It's just like all we care about is money,
Jeez.
It's like all we want.
Speaking of brands that send us money, this episode is also brought to you by the fine folks at Chase Bliss. I actually don't know if anyone else at Chase Bliss besides Joel and the guy who approves the checks knows that Chase Bliss supports this show, but they support this show. They make pedals more creative than you are. Their pedals have a bazillion knobs.
I really do think it is actual personal support from Joel. I don't think it's on the company.
It's not when it comes in. Is it a personal check from?
No, it's Joel? It's all over PayPal, man.
It's just it's from Joel Corte or whatever.
Yeah, at Chase Bliss or whatever.
Oh, right.
That's not his real email address, but like
his real email address is bigbossman@chasebliss.com.
Right.
But yeah, they make. I always want to grab a pedal. They're so far away.
You should borrow one.
No, like grab one. Like
okay,
to show now. Hey, editing Ryan.
You're gonna make me put in a PNG and animate it and move it around. Oh my gosh! Come on. They got also they're pushing the phaser right now. What's it called? The womb tone.
The womb tone. The Billy Strings womb tone.
Yeah.
Go check it out.
Check that. It's like an envelope controlled phaser. Like, yeah.
That's one of the old that's an industry disruptor right there, because the womb tone was discontinued so long ago and now it's back. And so that industry is
disrupted. It's over. Time to start over.
Yeah. Go check them out. Chasebliss.com. If you decide to buy something, leave a little comment when you make your purchase and say, hey, thanks for a 60 cycle for sending me here.
Steve peer pressured me into this. Say that.
Mm-hmm. This episode is also brought to you by TrueFire.
That's true.
TrueFire is a massive lesson site with thousands,
tens of thousands, maybe 100,000
of lessons. They want us to tell you that their best deal is the annual subscription, and it is. Mm-hmm. But if you're feling like a little bit of trepidation,
we agree with them. It is the best deal
because it's a little bit of like that's a big commitment. It is a big commitment to get the best deal. So what might be the path for you that I will recommend is just sign up for 1 month. Do they have a free trial?
They probably have some sort of.
They might have a free trial. Check out the free trial.
Yeah.
Find out if it works.
Do as much learning as you can in that short amount of time.
It's like 2 weeks.
Just like soak it
2 weeks.
All up, and then if you want to cancel it, so you have time to think after you did all that soaking. I'm talking, don't sleep. Yeah. Stay awake 24 hours for 28 days, however long the free trial is.
I think it's 14.
Just keep absorbing new information. Just suck up all that free information. Get as much as you can, and then just end it, and then kind of sit there and reflect for a year or so. Like, go climb a mountain, sit up there and meditate and think about whether or not you even have room in your brain for more information. And then if you think you've got a little bit more room in there,
sign up for the year.
Sign up for a year.
Get that good deal. Mm-hmm. Get that good deal. Use the link below so they know that we sent you.
Absolutely.
And go check it out. They're fantastic. Their videos are great.
Yeah.
Ryan.
Yes, Steve.
This next ad was sent by Jonah Rees. I feel like we haven't gotten anything from Jonah Rees in a long time.
Well, this one's a spooky one, Steve. It is October now.
I'm looking.
Did you know that?
It is.
We are
October.
Officially in spooky season.
One of a kind shovel bass guitar. One of a kind handmade 4-string shovel bass with bone guitar. You won't find another one like it. Lots of time and energy were spent assembling this masterpiece. It is playable with a guitar amplifier. I can get video of it being played for serious buyers. $600 or best offer. Is Steve, this like a still from the video?
This is what I want to do. This is going to be shocking.
Okay.
But there are 4 Mondays in October this year.
Oh, I hate Mondays.
At least there's not 5 then. I want us to do at least one spooky ad a week
Okay.
for October, which means you guys have to send us SpOoKy ads. And then on October 28th, we are going to pick an extra prize for the spookiest ad of October.
All
so
right.
send us your SpOoKy ads. Make sure you put it in the title so I know to look for newer ads that say SpOoKy. And we'll send you an extra. We'll do an extra prize, an extra $25 or something like that, or maybe we'll figure out something more special. But yeah, send us your SpOoKy ads because this one's spooky and we want more for October.
Are these
Bones?
No, I'm looking at the strings.
Oh, the strings.
Are these like just nylon wrapped green, like, or are these like the DR?
I think they're the DRs.
The DRs?
Because it wouldn't work if
Like
they were just
the misfit strings.
Yeah, I don't think it would work if they were just some rope.
No, I was thinking like tape wounds. Like if they're tape wounds.
Maybe.
It's hard to tell.
No, I bet they're the DRs.
The DR misfits.
So what we have
there's
here
a lot of bone action on here.
is a shovel guitar with a bone nut. That's not unusual to have a bone nut on a guitar. But this time it's like, what bone is that? It's like
Is it like a backbone?
It looks like a part of like a hip bone or something like that.
Mm.
I don't know what that is. And then every single fret is also a great big caveman bone.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you think this thing intonates? It also has some sort of bone wiggle stick here.
I don't know. I think that's like so you can carry it.
Oh, maybe that's this. Yeah.
Like it's like designed to be like an upper horn. I mean, did you watch the video or did we?
Yeah, I watched a little bit of it. I did screenshot it just to show that the guy was holding it.
Maybe it is an
playing
actual wiggle stick. Does look like it's connected to something.
It might function as a wiggle stick, which is wild because this is a 4-string situation with what we assume is bass strings.
But that's also another bone with like a jewel rock diamond. It's not a diamond.
So they used this guitar to dig up a body.
Mm-hmm.
They use this shovel to dig up a body.
Right.
And they're like, hey, I found all these bones. What the hell just burnt out? Oh, my main light just shut off.
Wow.
That's incredible. We've got dramatic lighting for the rest of the episode, guys.
That's very spooky, Ryan.
At least the camera didn't shut off.
Is that an LED?
Yeah.
How do you
Did my $300 light just
Well, thanks.
go kaput? Thanks
Patreon.
Patreons. Gonna have to replace that this week if it
Dang.
went bad. Maybe it has a fuse or something. Oh man, this ad is so spooky. It
Yeah,
it
the
just
lights are
killed
like,
our
wow.
light. Wow, incredible.
I'm very freaked out.
Ooh.
Did Brian just move?
Brian totally turned off the light. Brian,
Asshole.
you spooky bastard. What do I want for this? $600?
What? Did I not? Oh, good grief. No wonder it was been listed.
Is this made out of Pope bones or
It's
something?
been listed for 4 weeks.
Like part of the construction of this is blue painter's tape holding the electronics together on the back. I don't think so. $600, 600 bones? No way. Did you see that they're using skulls?
For the knobs?
No, they're like screws.
Oh yeah, those
Like
screws. They're like screw caps or whatever.
Screw caps to hold the pickup in.
And then
they're
the
little
skull,
skulls.
the see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil skull strap.
Yeah. They're going all in, man. It's all bone themed.
This is the.
I wish the pickup was a bone.
If you were in a Zydeco band that's playing outside the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland or Disney World, Disney Universe, whatever. Whatever it's called. This is the bass that you would need.
Yeah.
For that.
This is a grave digger guitar.
Every time I look up now, it's so weird.
I know.
So strange.
Well, this is the beginning of
Ryan,
spooky
do
season.
you have anything else to say about this?
I dig it. That's a shovel joke.
All right, Ryan, you got anything new?
I ain't got nothing.
We had no mail this week.
I didn't get an email for an email, so I didn't even go check.
We could have had a small thing.
Could have had a letter in there. But also this week, my wife has gone on like a girls trip.
Yeah.
And I didn't get out the door while the kids were in school, so I didn't even have a chance to get over there.
That's fair.
Yeah,
that's fair. Do I have anything new? I don't think I have anything new either. It's very spooky. The two of us both not having anything new.
Nothing's new. Everything's old.
How often does that happen? Very
Nothing new at all, huh?
spooky,
Strange. Very
spooky.
strange. This is the least interesting mystery ever.
Yeah,
We have a boring life.
We've definitely had many times when neither of us had anything new.
Of course
Which
not.
is a thing.
We
like,
just don't bring it up when that happens.
Yeah.
Why'd you bring it up?
Well, because I always have to do the what's new.
You don't have to.
You know, Ryan,
You can talk to me about it before we press
if you want
record.
the spookiest strings on the market.
Are you talking about strings that are coated in human baby teeth?
I am talking about strings are coated in human baby teeth. You got to get those strings from String Joy.
That's right, Steve.
They're a sponsor of this show.
I know that. I remember.
They're a sponsor of this channel.
That's true.
We get lots
They
of
are
strings from
our
them.
official string provider.
Yeah.
Pretty much every guitar that I have around here has String Joy strings on them at this point.
Yeah.
I'm a loyal fan of their orbiters. I like the 10.5 to 52 set.
I think it's 10.5 to 50.
You might be right. 10.5 to 50.
And
that
of
does sound
course,
right.
you know, it's a great mixed set, you know, in terms of like a good combination of light and medium gauge.
But if you think
But
that,
hold on, but
okay.
also
All right,
like it's got the added bonus of being coated in human baby
that's
teeth.
right, because it's got an enamel coating on
It
there.
really makes the strings come alive in your hand.
They've got that little bit of extra bite.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want cavities in your tone.
If you want just like to like have that thick, chewy tone.
Tone you can gnaw on.
Yeah. You need String Joy orbiters.
I had some really good pitch and now it's gone.
Well, my
Interrupted it.
pitch is go down to the description, click the link, use code HUM when you check out for a sick little discount.
Oh, I was going to say, like,
Say the
if you think you can do better than the set that I use, you can come up with a more interesting set of strings. You can get onto their custom set builder on their website and put together whatever combination of strings you want. You could go crazy. The heaviest heavy strings, the lightest light strings, the middlest middle strings, or vice versa. You could have the heaviest high strings, the lightest heavy strings. You could have middle strings are always middle strings. Like you can't change those. They're always the same.
You could have oops all G's or oops all D's or
I've done
oops
that.
all A's or
Yeah.
oops all any other.
All F
letter.
strings. F, F, F,
What's
F,
an F
F,
string?
F.
Is that
You can have an F string.
all right. Oops all F's.
Oops, all Fs.
Ryan, do you have this topic? I know it was
I
sent
do.
by Daniel Esporma. Thanks,
do.
Daniel.
It is screen grabbed in my telephone. Guitar buying, selling, trading, market health. It's a market report. Buy, sell, sell. I went to a guitar show the other week and noticed that there were more guitars left at the end of the show than in recent years. Is it more of a buyer's market right now? What dictates these things? So there's a lot of things that can affect whether or not people, like the general population, is buying used stuff or even buying new stuff. I was telling Steve before we recorded that I've actually noticed a downtick in affiliate sales because I get a behind the scenes look at what people are buying, and
And that's mostly new, right? Because
it's
they're
always
clicking reverb.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, people do buy stuff through. I don't think I can actually see what people are buying on Reverb, but
So you don't know if it's new or used.
yeah. But I've actually seen like a significant drop from the Reverb action. Like there's not a lot of purchasing going on Reverb through my affiliate
Right.
links. I'll say that. But Amazon's down. Like all the retailers are down that I have affiliates with. And I have a few ideas why.
Sure.
One of them might be correct. All of them might be correct. All of them could be incorrect. Like my big suspicion is election cycle uncertainty.
It would be interesting to go if you could. And it might be there for some of these.
Right. People don't know what the
It could be
immediate
interesting
future is
to
going to
go
look like.
To go back to like 2020 and compare, like say May 2020 to May 2024, and then compare September or like August 2020
Right.
to August 2024.
But that's tricky
and
because
see what
like
kind of drops you have.
I'd have to account for channel growth and things
true.
like it would be difficult, like very like soft math.
You could do some normalization in there that definitely would not be worth it, but you could do it. It's doable.
You might.
I could do it.
I feel like
maybe you can't.
You would
but-
need to get like a bigger picture by getting the numbers from like 10 different channels.
Oh, sure. If you really wanted to like break it down, but I'm just saying like
Okay.
using the numbers that you have available.
So let's talk about what affects general population guitar buying habits. Because in recent history, we've seen a period of time where people went nuts.
Yeah.
Where people were buying more than they've ever bought before in the history of buying guitar stuff.
For what it's worth, that was like summer 2020.
Right.
So, you know, that it probably like people were kind of in a buying frenzy. People
but also
were getting really investing in their hobbies because they didn't have anything else to do.
But I think my big theory for right now, while there might be a slowdown in the used market and even the new market, is uncertainty, political uncertainty, financial uncertainty. We're coming off of 4 years of insane inflation that is finally starting to die down.
Yeah.
We're wondering where things are going to equalize. We're wondering what's going to happen with food costs and rent costs and all sorts of costs. And people don't know what the future is going to look like. We are on the precipice of what is a very significant election for America, if not the rest of the world. Like a lot of the world is watching what's going on over here, and people are like, what's if one side wins, what's going to happen to the import market? If another side wins, what's going to happen to the domestic market? Maybe like there's all sorts of big questions. And, you know, like it doesn't even have to be that heady. It could just be a general sense of uncertainty that keeps people from making unnecessary purchases. But you compare that to 4 years ago, where the uncertainty is huge, where people are like, I don't know what the future is going to look like. Might as well throw my full back into hobbies that I've always wanted to do. Yeah. It was a different type of uncertainty. And it's interesting to see that kind of contrast in between those two similar but drastically different eras in our lives. You know?
So, I mean, to answer the core question, right, I think it's pretty much acknowledged across the board that the used market's down, that people aren't buying as much, that people aren't able to sell at the levels that they thought. Like literally, and I haven't jumped on it. I haven't jumped on it locally, and I probably very most likely will not.
Okay.
But Philip from 40 Watt Podcast, Philip Carter, will send me ads every once in a while from his area where you're seeing like Gibson Les Paul standards like in the mid to upper teens, like 16 to 1800. I think they're like 22 new, and that is an instrument that tends to retain, like it doesn't really take a hit. I've seen a few of them locally to me in that like, you know, 16, 1700, where I'm like, is this, how much are these going to drop more? Is this the time for that? Some of that is because we do have a little bit of a market flooding happening because people bought instruments at such a high rate during COVID.
And now they're unloading stuff.
Yeah. And, you know, it's people who jumped into a hobby. Literally, we have people in our audience that I've talked to.
That's incredible.
I know. I can't think of any of them like specifically offhand, but I know people who like get back into guitar. Maybe they played when they were like teenagers or in college or whatever, and then they got out of it for like 20, 30 years. And now they got back into it during COVID because, again, not a lot else to do. I'm sitting around all day. Oh, I should break up that old guitar I got in the closet. Wow, I really like this. I'm going to buy, like, you know, some of these guys, maybe they're not buying enough guitars to rival what you've got going on in here. Sure. But at least enough guitars to rival what you've got going on behind us.
Right.
You know, people went pretty hard, and then now 4 years later, they're back in the full swing of work. Maybe they're just kind of over it. Maybe they figured out what they like.
Sure.
And so, you know, they bought a Telecaster, they bought a Strat, they bought a different Strat, they bought another Telecaster, you know, they bought a Jazzmaster, they bought a couple Les Pauls and an SG and and now they know which 2 or 3 guitars they really love, and so they want to sell the rest. And so the upside is, or like that is definitely also a cause. And I think also what we're selling, which is kind of like less, maybe a little less obvious, is a lot of people, I think, who bought guitars during COVID, we're seeing the prices of these things go up in 2020
Right.
2021.
There were supply issues.
Maybe 2022, supply
Yeah.
issues, all these different things that were like
basic supply and
high
demand. Bullshit.
literally it's high demand with a limited supply. And now that they're trying to sell, they're in this mindset of like, well, I bought this for, $1,800, or let's say it like easy numbers. I bought this for $1,000 in 2019 or 2020. And I saw at the peak that it was worth $1,500. So I don't want to take anything less than $1,400.
Right.
But for better or worse, like the market has probably gone back to where like maybe 1,000 is low, but maybe it's more like 1,100, 1,200 is reasonable. And you're just not going to see 1,400, 1,500 right now. So, at the end of the day, you do have folks going to guitar shows and they come in with 10 guitars, and maybe 5 years ago or 3 years ago or whatever, they would have sold 8 out of 10 guitars, and now they're only selling 3 out of 10. And some of that reason is because people aren't buying as much. I don't know, but I don't know what the attendance looks like at these shows.
Sure.
So that part is actually speculated. Maybe they're attended just as well.
Right.
And these sellers just aren't flexible enough to sell.
Or just people aren't interested in spending the money right now.
Yeah.
I have 2 other theories that I want to throw at the wall here.
Let's hit these theories.
This one's a little bit more outlandish, but it's something that we've talked about being a possibility for the 11 years that we've been doing this show,
right?
Nearly 11 years. There is a possibility that we've hit gear saturation, that there's too many guitars, there's too many pedals, there's too many amps, there's too much gear out there, and not enough people to buy them. Like, guitars don't go bad unless you wreck them, or if you leave them somewhere irresponsible. Like, and even when they go bad, almost everything on them can be repaired.
Right.
Same for pedals. Pedals go bad very, very, very rarely. Amps, like the tubes can go bad, and other bad things can happen to them that compromise them. But they can always be repaired. So every new amp, every new guitar, every new pedal that gets sold could potentially stay on the market for, we haven't seen the end yet. I mean, electric guitar has been a thing for 60, 70 years. Like, we don't know where the end is yet. A guitar could be a 100-year object before it's not usable anymore.
Right.
If people want it to keep working, they'll just keep getting it repaired. Like, obviously, cheap guitars fall by the wayside and end up in landfills and things like that, or end up being chewed up into some ridiculous project that ends up just being splinters in someone's garage or something like that.
Or
but the vast majority,
4-string bass shovel.
The vast majority of guitars and guitar equipment is not leaving the market. So you keep putting more and more new stuff into the market, and eventually there's just too much stuff.
Do you think we are far enough into Gen Z's adulthood that maybe they are not buying guitars at the same rate that like we did?
They've aged out of their youthful indiscretions and starting bands and starting projects, and now they're more focused on potentially getting into family life or professional life and stuff like that.
I'm not even thinking that, because like, so the Gen Z range right now is like 27, 28.
Right.
At the oldest, and at the youngest is, I think like 14.
Sure.
Somewhere at 13, 14, something like that. So what I'm saying is like, do you think the average 25-year-old Gen Z guitar player, do you think they own more, less, or the same number of guitars that we owned when we were 25?
I mean, you can't go with the average, because we're not average people either. We're talking about people.
Sure.
The market for guitar stuff are not average people. They're hobbyist specialists.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The average 25-year-old guitar player.
I think the average 25-year-old guitar player probably has different spending habits than we did, but they're buying things that didn't exist for us.
That's true.
They're putting money into Helixes and then trying out quad Cortexes, or they're full digital on laptops and they're buying plugins and things like that. Or they're way into pedals in ways we never were.
They also have the ability to buy, you know, when did the market really become flooded with like decent Amazon guitars?
Totally.
Did that?
I mean, when we were young, you had to go to a guitar shop to buy a guitar. And if you ordered it, it'd be like, man, returning this thing would be a huge pain in the butt. Like it already took 6 weeks to get here. Like now I'm going to file a return and maybe they'll take care of me. So it's a totally different purchasing. I bet people buy more now than we ever did.
I really have no idea. So I have no sense of it. I don't know any 25-year-old guitar players.
Here's my second
personally.
Here's my second theory.
I probably talked to some. I just don't know.
Sure.
Second theory.
If you're that age group, tell us, like, what are you buying? How much stuff do you have? What are your buying habits like? This second theory, my last theory, possibly, I can actually connect this to another facet in my life, surfing. So I've been getting out surfing a lot more, trying to deal with and remedy the burnout that I've been experiencing. Sure. So I've been getting out like twice a week and going back to some of the old spots that I used to go to as a teen.
Oh, that's the way.
And there's something that I've noticed.
Yeah.
The people out in the water, the people out in the lineup are a different crowd now. There's a significant portion of the population that has aged out of surfing.
Right.
They're too old. And those people, they're still probably young enough to continue playing guitar. But from what I'm seeing out in the water, they're probably within a 10-year range of aging out of that as well. And I think maybe talking about these guitar shows where maybe there's highly collectible, maybe higher end guitars there, I think the people who have kept that market alive, I think they're aging out.
And you don't think like, say, like Gen X and older millennials,
not in the same way,
are going in and being like, oh man, that guy's finally selling his 1978 Stratocaster. Oh, I can pick it up for a steal, $4,000.
Gen Xers are too cynical anyways. They aren't, like, there's always exceptions, but as a generalization of that group, they aren't into the idol worship that the previous generations were into, as far as like, oh, I've got to have a Jimmy Page style guitar. Oh, I have to have this guitar that was made on this date by this builder, and I'm super fidgety about everything that I know about it. Yeah, those people exist out there as Gen Xers, but generally as a whole, they aren't nostalgic that same way. They aren't collectors that same way. They might have one or two things they're into, but they're not like, they're not crazy for Jimi Hendrix stuff the way that the previous generation was, and things like that. They're also not as consumerist.
Sure.
Like their core kind of values are different. It's not all about getting as many toys as you can before you die. So I really do think that we might be on that edge of a big part of the guitar collector market that has been the group that's pushed so many older guitars into being $20, $30, $40, $50,000 collector's instruments. I think that group is on the edge of aging out. And I don't want to sound grim, but it just feels like we might be there. Because like connecting it back to the surfing thing, I know people are thinking like, oh, but that's an active thing. Sure. And blah, blah. There's always been old people in the water. I mean, old in a, like, just recognizing that aged people, silver-haired people. There's always been.
Does your dad still get in the water?
No,
I don't know if my father-in-law. I think he still goes paddle boarding every once in a while, but when he does, he doesn't. There was definitely a stretch where it seemed like
it's a low,
maybe like 10 years ago, like 5-10 years ago, where it felt like for at least twice a month, for like a few years, he was in the water.
Here's the thing. Like surfing itself very low impact.
Sure.
Like it's like you can blow out a joint doing anything. Like if you could definitely do that surfing, but if you're just out there kind of like cruising around and taking it easy, you can surf it well into your golden years.
For sure.
But getting a heavy board on and off of a car, getting up and down the big staircases that we have in Southern California to get down the cliffs, to get to the good breaks, all that sorts of stuff. I think that's where people are aging out, you know?
No, that's fair.
Yeah.
Too old to do Swamis. Too proud to go to La Jolla Shores. That's what I'm hearing. That is what I'm hearing.
But now we're just talking about local surf breaks.
Welcome to Geography Cast.
I think when I'm an elder surfer, I think I'll probably favor Tourmaline. They've got a nice parking lot right on the beach.
I'm not sure. Is that in PB?
It's between like, PB and La Jolla.
And it's like in between PB and like Bird Rock, right?
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever actually been to Tourmaline.
It's a nice beach. It's a good surf
Maybe I'll
there
go
too.
There sometime.
Yeah.
Just to check it out.
Skip Fry always hung out there. I don't know if he's still surfing.
I don't even know. That's
husband of Donna Fry, a local politician.
Oh, okay. That means something to me.
But he's also a very well revered surfboard shaper.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah. I think that kind of encompasses it. And I think the idea of like a simultaneous mass dumping of where you have like new companies that are doing mass production of instruments on like, so, you know, you simultaneously have a flooding of new product onto the market and a lot of like collections that are kind of going to start trickling onto the market as well.
That's going to be
by
wild.
Collection. I don't even mean that again, like you're saying, like, you know, you could look around here and think about from a collection standpoint and say like, this one's maybe going to be worth a lot. And this one's going to be maybe worth in like, you know, 20, 30 years.
But then
there's also sections of what's going on over here where I'm like, your West Creek is probably never going to be outpace inflation, you know?
No.
The Chipsenbacher is negative inflation. The Fesley, like it's a fine guitar, probably going to be like negative inflation.
Right.
Know?
There's only a handful of guitars in my collection that are actually worth anything.
Right. and but I'm not saying that.
Most of them are back there.
I'm not saying that to like pick on you. Like even like the Squired, it's Affinity Jaguar over here, like fine guitar. Fender's probably selling a ton of them. And in 40 years, they're going to be worth exactly what people are paying for them right now.
Well, here's
not $1 more.
Here's the thing. Like there's this whole class of collector out there, this whole genre of collector that has a barn or a storage building on their property. These people who live out in more rural areas and they have land and they put up barns that are made for storing their toys and stuff like that. And there's guys out there, and there's a lot of them. There's a lot of these people with every single hobby that just has these buildings on their property where they just stockpile Les Pauls or Firebirds or Ibanez Jims. They're just like, I got to have one in every color. You know, I've been trying to look for a 77. I've got the 76 and I've got the 79, but I always wanted the 77. Like it's, these people are out there and they have massive hordes of stuff that they're sitting on. And that stuff hitting the estate sale market is going to really kick the people aging out of collecting, like the what is it, like the meniscus of
equilibrium?
This bubble.
Of the bubble,
is just gonna be nuts in the next 10 years or so. When this all starts really accelerating, we're gonna see guitars that used to fetch tens of thousands of dollars for collectors, like just kind of sit on the market and then eventually sell in the teens, you know?
Sure.
Like we're going to see stuff lose value that has been building a natural value for the past 30, 40 years.
Yeah. There was a post recently where, and this is like more of a general economics. And like you said, I think people are reprioritizing. some things are like the people who, like in my case, don't know if I've slowed down on buying, but I've definitely like changed the way I think about buying. Where I think I look at buying more of like, if I can't find a killer, I've got kind of moved back to where like, if I can't find a killer deal, I'm not really as interested in like trying something.
Sure.
Because like with a killer deal, I'm like, well, if I try it and then I sit on it for a few years, we'll see what happens. But I think there is definitely, or at least there really needs to be an acknowledgement with the guitar market and probably a lot of markets in general, how wild the COVID expansion was. And we've seen it with like the tech sector in my industry, the biotech sector. We've seen it where like 2022, early 2023, there were a lot of companies, including my own, that did like government regulated layoffs. And what I mean by that, like big enough where you couldn't just walk in and say, you 10 people are gone. Like you had to report to the government and you had to like continue to pay those people for 60 days after their termination date, as it's like a federal requirement, or state. Maybe it's a state. I don't know if it's state or federal requirement, but it's like legally regulated layoffs. And I say that to say that like we had a massive overexpansion during COVID, and we also did see that, maybe, I don't know if we saw that as much on the guitar building side, because I can't think of too many instrument companies that existed in 2020 that don't exist now. I'm sure they exist.
Right.
I'm sure I'm forgetting a lot of them. You talked about, which I didn't look up, but you talked about last episode, the amp company that was purchased by Creation. That one I think was pre-COVID.
Oh yeah.
But we've actually seen, and we're talking about this.
And you know how I know it was pre-COVID is because I remember seeing it in the basement at NAMM.
Oh,
and basement was pre-COVID.
That company.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say is we've seen this ebb and flow in this market before, because 2016 was a really bad year for the guitar industry. And a lot of companies, like either got super lean or had to really change their approaches in like 2016. And 26 around then, that was a time where like some of the companies that we knew the guys and kind of affiliated with some of the folks in that cluster, like all kind of went bottoms up.
Yeah.
There's more recently. Yeah. Well, so to bring it back to now, John Cusack of Cusack and all the Cusack stuff, Cusack Music and Cusack Medical or whatever the hell he makes on the side. I don't know what it all is.
Right. He's got his fingers in a lot of.
He was talking about how he's seeing the economy as kind of an OEM type guy. And how I think he said in the last like 6 months, he's had like 5 or 6 different pedal companies approach him, asking him if he'd be interested in buying them out.
I also think that is just a maturing of a huge explosion of small builders that we've seen in the past 10, 15 years. I think just those people maturing out of this industry. And, I can't keep making pedals for the rest of my life.
There could be some of that, but he also has said that like he's seeing it on both sides. Not outside of his like non-musical instrument side, he's seeing some retraction and some pain. So I think overall we're just kind of seeing it broadly, and definitely the pedal market is it oversaturated? In some ways I feel like it's like an impossible oversaturation, but I also have seen a lot through like the comments we get on your Affordaboard series and people who email and talk about how the Affordaboard series was their introduction to guitar pedals. A lot of people are very complimentary of that series.
It's very popular,
but so we've seen like Amazon just go like nuts with this thing. And then, JHS has a 3 series and all these different companies have tried to like market lower cost pedals. And we just kind of had this pedal explosion, and there is definitely like, again, some of it is economic factors and some of it is just like, it is saturation. And I think we are in a point where like, you can't just make a good tube screamer. You have to make something that's interesting. It can be a tube screamer, but it has to be interesting. It has to do something unique, and your marketing around it has to be really good. Like it's not good enough to just make a good product.
Right.
You have to have a draw. I didn't wear this shirt on purpose, but you see the things that like fly off the shelves. the Meowdulator from B's Music Shop, like they've done like 3 or 4 runs of that like immediately sell out.
People love it. People love the novelty.
There's another brand I get emails from that kind of does, like, they get them in. I can't remember off the top of my head.
There's a bunch of brands
I know
like
Mr. Black does that. Mr. Black does runs of like 100 pedals. They sell out really fast.
Well, I want to sidetrack a little bit here.
With all I'm getting at is there are like certain like unique quality pedals that still sell extremely well, and there's certain like brands that were well loved in the past who have remained well loved and still sell really quickly.
I think we've been inside of a bubble of our age group coming into the market.
Mm-hmm.
People like our way of entering into the gear industry was through media. We're doing a podcast that turned into a YouTube channel, and that's what we've been doing for over a decade now. At the same exact time that we started doing that was a huge bubble of people our pretty much exact age starting companies, or their companies getting their feet underneath them enough that they became a big deal. You know, like we can look at so many of the companies that we work with. Like Chase Bliss is the same age as this show. Yeah.
Like
there's so many.
What Josh is what, like 40? Josh Scott's like 44.
Yeah, I think he's actually younger than me. I think he's 42 or 43 or something like. No, I think he might be 41.
But the point being, like, there's a mass cluster of
you go to NAMM
guitar company owners that are between the ages of 35 and 45.
Right. It's like our age group specifically. Something happened 15 to 10 years ago where, and it's because of the Keeleys and the Z-Vexes,
right,
and because of the Wamplers and stuff like that,
yeah,
where people got excited about these boutique pedals and they looked up, like, how do you do that? Oh, I can do that. I can make circuits. You had all these people who were like us who were fooling around with soldering irons and decided to make little pedal companies and stuff like that. And then because that age group was excited enough about those things to build them, that's a really good indicator that there's also a lot of people, that age group, who are excited to buy them. And so we are in an age group, a generational bubble of people who are excited about guitar gear, about music equipment in general. And that not only brought about a bunch of companies and products, it also brought about a bunch of consumers. And as this bubble, this generational bubble moves through our lives, the phases of our lives are going to dramatically affect the market.
Yeah.
In this very small industry that we all enjoy being part of, like, we're all moving through time at the same pace. So it's like, oh, this is the 5 or 6 years where everyone just has kids and that changes their buying habits. Oh, now people are thinking about buying a house and that changes buying habits. Oh, now people are, their kids are getting older. Now they have more free time and now they can get back into their hobbies and now they're buying again. And oh, now they have to pay for braces. Now they're not buying it. Like, these waves of life moments are affecting the market in ways that are kind of unseen because there is a bubble of an age group moving through time, is my theory right now.
I think the thing that I never thought about this until you mentioned it right here, and this is like a future casting. I'm thinking about this like optimistically,
sure,
which is a thing I don't like to do. No, I'm just kidding. But it's a thing I don't necessarily do. But off of that, like, you mentioned Keeley and you mentioned Z-Vex, and I think those ones are, those are like easy ones.
Those are like the godfathers of the modern.
And also because like
world.
Chase Bliss, Joel worked for Zachary Vex at one point. Old Blood Noise came out of Keeley.
And Earthquaker.
Did Earthquaker come out of somebody?
No, I'm just saying that they're another. Early company.
And so I think you think of what, thinking about like what Keeley did in his area and what Chase Bliss coming out of Z-Vex, not really coming out, but and you kind of have these brands that beget brands that Maris traces its lineage back through Line 6,
right?
And, actually, I think all the way back to Damage Control.
I mean, the Strymon traces back to line 6.
Strymon, yeah, right. Maris traces to Strymon to line 6 to Damage Control, like this whole thing. And, Damage Control, Strymon, Damage Control, line 6. Doesn't matter. Point being is, like, you have this generational thing. So what I'm wondering is in the next, like, 5 to 10 years, is there going to be like a company, and maybe this already is happening and we just haven't seen it because of this, it's like a generational blindness almost, right? Like, who's the company that we're going to find out, like, oh yeah, this guy was working the soldering iron at JHS, or, he was there for 3 years, 4 years, and now he's like starting to build stuff on the side, and, people need to check it out. Like, is there going to be a point where, like, someone from Old Blood Noise spins out and starts doing their own crazy thing? It's possible. There's a lot of brands that, like, I don't even know what their history is.
I think the tough thing right now is, for this generational bubble that I'm talking about, there was a void that we filled.
Yeah.
I think the current group of younger people, there's not a void for them to fill, right? So they might not.
Right. There's something to be said for.
They might have to wait. We might have to wait for the next generation of excitement around starting gear companies. We might have to wait until there is a void, until a lot of these current companies drop off or just kind of fade away or become acquired by John Cusack.
Well, I mean, there really is, I think, a lot to be said for, like, one of the other thing that came up during that time that really changed a lot of industries was the ability to go direct, the ability to market direct, was all things that, like, were fresh. And this is like it's weird to think back that at this point, like, you have one of the oldest active gear demo channels.
It is weird to think that. And, like, when I started doing demos, it was like, what demo channels were there? There was Andy.
Well, Andy was doing
Pro Guitar
Shop. I think Mike Hermans was
Gearman Dude,
but he's not active anymore. I don't believe. Was Knobs around back then?
No. He came out around right around because he was at like the second NAMM party we ever went to. And he had just started.
Knobs, I think Phil came up maybe a little bit after you did, but he already had a music shop, so that's a little different.
And he's never been like
a full-on demo guy.
Like, he does cover stuff, but he's never been a demo guy.
And then I guess I don't really know, like, how Glenn and Henning got started in that.
Henning feels like he came around the same time as us.
Yeah. So it's just it's a weird thing to think about. I don't want to think too much about it, but except, like, my only point being, like, there was this, again, kind of like an explosion of marketing options.
Right.
Whereas, like, I think in the past there was kind of an idea of, like, if you were a new company and you could somehow get your product into Pro Guitar Shop, then you had a shot, because if Andy demoed your pedal,
right,
like, you were going to move units.
When I started doing demos and I got plugged in with the community and talking to builders and brands and stuff like that, it was pretty much right after this hot period where, like, if Andy covered your pedal, you were going to move a ton of units, and a lot of the brands, like, were banking on that, and they me and other people around the same time were coming into the market, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna hire you to do a demo, and they're sitting around there and they're like, man, like 2 years ago we had Andy do a demo and he moved like 300 pedals. Like, why aren't these guys moving 300 pedals? It's because the market had already shifted.
Yeah.
And it's because not only was there more demo channels and the audiences were spread out into more micro niches and stuff like that, there was also more product.
Sure.
There was more product on the market. It wasn't just like, oh, if you're going to buy a boost, you have to buy the Katana from Keeley because it's the only boutique boost on the market. It sounds a little better. If you're going to buy a crazy fuzz, you have to go Zvex. All of a sudden, people my age start entering into doing demos, and there's not 3 boutique builders versus Boss, Digitech, and MXR. Now there's 300.
Yeah.
And so you don't see this huge, you didn't see this huge return on a single demo moving a ton of pedals or a ton of product all at once. It became normalized, you know? And so that's really kind of defines the era of pedal demo stuff that we entered into, is that it had just been established and the heat just got dissipated a bit, you know? But, you know, that's what we grew out of. And it's been a fun industry to be part of. And I hope I get to keep being part of it for the rest of my life until I retire.
And, you know, that whole story, again, is just to illustrate, like, this market is constantly changing.
Always changing.
It was different in 2016, which was a retraction year for the gear industry. 2016, 2017 boomed in 2020. We're seeing a retraction again. We're seeing changes in the market. I currently have an active put. I have 2 active puts on Trump Media, and at least as of the time we're recording this, I'm up. So go me. I could be making a lot of money on this.
Are you doing a short?
It's a put. It's similar.
You'll have to explain it to me later. Maybe I want in on this action.
I don't recommend it. I'm already half regretting it. But this ad was sent by Mark DeBruyne.
It's more for the patriotism of it.
Here's an ad for a 24-foot long strap.
I forgot about this.
Ryan called this Big Toan. Apparently, if it used to hang on the facade of a bar called Desnar, the String in Hasselt, Belgium. The same seller also has a guitar-shaped countertop from the same bar. I can't find any mention of this bar online, so it may have closed decades ago. The quality of the workmanship is all over the place. Some details, like the tuners and the Fender logo, are quite realistic, while other parts look like they were made by someone who had only ever seen a Strat from a distance. I guess it was made by a group of people who were more enthusiastic about the project than others. So what do you do with a 24-foot guitar? Put strings on it and play it as a super baritone? Set it on fire as part of your stage show? Use it as a cover for your guitar-shaped swimming pool?
As part of your stage show? This is the stage. Like, this is big enough to be a stage. Like, there's plenty of photos here where you can get the scale of this.
Yeah,
look at that.
It's a combined length of one forklift and one transporter van.
You can fit a forklift on the body and still have room for keyboard and a singer. Like, you can have a forklift as part of the band. And that's a decent sized forklift. That's not one of the little guys.
Reminds me of that thing that was up at NAMM last year, that big wooden
That wasn't
guitar.
even this big.
You don't think it was this big?
No, this is huge, man. This is a
that thing
huge
was probably,
guitar.
That thing is probably like 16 feet. This is like 24.
It's huge. This is a massive, massive, massive guitar. And Mark is right. Like, the Fender logo, like, someone really nailed that. The tuners look incredible. Like, they did a killer job on the tuners.
The tuners look like they might actually turn.
This is the best fretwork I've ever seen on a guitar of this size. Like,
that's like the worst joke.
No, but like, those are frets. They're metal. They're vintage style.
Ryan, it's a plywood body, worthless.
It has a bridge on it. It has the correct amount of knobs. It has a switch. It has the jack in a weird place. But then the body's a wonky shape and the pickups are in weird positions. But like, the neck and the headstock and the tuners and like a lot of the hardware is really spot on. Like, I'm impressed by a lot of this, but it's so freaking huge. Like, how much do they want for it? Did he say? I don't see a price.
No, because there was a link. Oh, was it? Did you actually?
I thought I had a screen grab of something.
Zergroot Utang Board Vord Cafe Inkle.
It might just be a haul away situation. Like, if you can take it, please.
Yeah, there's no price on, or it could just be ask for a price kind of a situation.
I can't think, other than turning this into a stage, like, who knows if it's strong enough for that. I mean, it survived outside for a long time. Maybe you could open up the bottom and fill it with a bunch of extra supports or something to make it a stage. Other than that, like, what do you even do with this? Oh, I know. Here's what I would do.
Okay, I would say what you would do.
Okay. You get string swinging on
Okay.
this. You make the biggest string swing ever.
Okay.
The biggest guitar hook ever, and you just hang this on the side of a building somewhere.
I'm a kind of on the same page, but not just any building somewhere. You hang this on the side of Henning's house to complete like he can repaint it.
Right.
The colors he needs it to be. This completes the 42 Gear Street vibe. This needs to be at the next 42 Gear Street next year.
And then everyone takes a turn trying to play it.
Yeah.
I mean, you put steel cables on this, you could have some fun with this.
You build this out, and the challenge for coming in is, and he needs to be challenged with this ahead of time, is Colin has to figure out how to electrify and amplify like this. How do you create the pickups that
also
will actually work on this?
Depending on how strong this is, like it's hard to tell. Like the construction's all over the map. It's hard to tell what's going on here. It'd be a lot of fun to watch a bunch of skateboarders have fun with this. Just grinding rails on it. Like jumping on it, doing kickflips on it, like doing tricks down the neck and stuff. Like they'd have to take the frets off.
This would just be like you're thinking this is just like a centerpiece at a skate park kind of a thing.
Dump it next to a skate park and see what happens and film it. And then like also like, you know, like when people will stack pallets like 80 feet high and set them on fire sort of thing.
You set this on fire.
You set this on fire, you lean it against the pallets, you know, like that'd be a fun visual. Be a fun way to send it out. You know?
Here's what we've come up with. Henning's house, skate park, Burning Man.
Exactly. Or something kind of fun is that if you get wood down deep under the water, there's not enough bugs and worms and oxygen for wood to rot. Like they still find like ships from the 1600s. They still find Viking ships in bogs and deep sea burials where like it's perfectly preserved. You throw this down into Lake Tahoe or something like that, get it deep down in the water. You throw it off in the water off of the coast of Greenland or Iceland or something like that.
This is going.
It's going to be preserved for hundreds, if not thousands of years. Just leave it for future generations.
Yeah.
Like maybe that'll be the thing that rekindles interest in guitar in
500 years.
In 500 years, they find this thing at the bottom of the ocean when they have the technology for everyone to cruise around in their own personal submersibles that don't collapse and kill billionaires.
Titan 12,
right? From
whatever that company's called.
Right. It needs to be preserved forever, is what I'm saying.
It belongs in a museum.
All right, let's pick the winner.
What is our winner this week, Ryan? We actually had some good ones.
Metallico, Bone
Zone, and Big Toan.
I'm feeling Big Toan.
I was feeling Big Toan too.
We agree too much. We don't get to spin the wheel anymore.
Big Toan. Well, you know, my second choice would have been Metallico. But no, I think it's Big Toan, man.
I'll spin it just to keep it warm. Everything looks so weird without the light on.
I know. It really, there's no reflection.
Yeah.
And also, it's interesting.
Congratulations, Steve.
Oh, thank you. It's like, it's interesting because this light creates a lot of bright.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize because it's so,
it's soft.
I don't think it's soft. So actually, like, you're a lot shinier. I think we're both like a lot shiny. I feel like, and maybe I don't know if it's because of where that light's located.
No, the side lighting is very dramatic.
This one. But like, you definitely need some powder.
Oh yeah.
I could probably use a little powder too.
You guys can see all the cracks in my face right now. It's intense. I'm sure.
So,
tell us about the song, Steve. Let me go take a look at this light.
This song was sent by, sorry, I got a text. This song was sent by Matthias. He says, "Hello, Kyle. Hello, Steve." I don't know why your name is Kyle, but I'm sending you one of the countless instrumentals I wrote and recorded during the lockdowns. I found this song particularly fitting because not only did I write it after an anime binge session, I was watching the first Hellsing TV adaptation with awesome British music. I used the Kuvave Kuvave for the lead guitar. Hopefully you'll eventually play it and like my little British shoegaze noodling. Meet Besten musikalischen Gruben Matze. You coming back to listen to this?
I am. Just get it started.
Here we go.
Fun, groovy jam.
Yeah, I really like that bass work.
Yeah, like some sort of vocal would turn it into a song. Would you call this song right now? It's like a backing track right now.
It feels like a TV show theme.
Like a theme.
Now.
Yeah.
Like this could be like a procedural montage.
I'm not like
in like a movie.
I'm not saying it needs singing. What if it had like some like kind of like dark, moody spoken word over it? Like tell like a short story, or like what if it was like news clips, like ominously vague, like clips.
That could be interesting.
Could be interesting. There's something there. I like it a lot. I really like what you're doing there.
Yeah.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Stay grounded.
Next time, hopefully I'll have a working light.
We'll see.
Thanks, Patreons.
Bye.